Chapter 14. Land west of the Jordan. Here are the inheritance allotments that the people of Israel received in the land of Canaan. Eleazar the priest, Joshua son of Nun, and the heads of the family clans made the allotments. Each inheritance was assigned by lot to the 9.5 tribes, just as God had commanded Moses. Moses had given the 2.5 tribes their inheritance east of the Jordan, but hadn't given an inheritance to the Levites, as he had to the others. Because the sons of Joseph had become 2 tribes, Manasseh and Ephraim, they gave no allotment to the Levites. But they did give them cities to live in with pasture rights for their flocks and herds. The people of Israel followed through exactly as God had commanded Moses. They apportioned the land. Caleb. The people of Judah came to Joshua at Gilgal. Caleb, son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, spoke. You'll remember what God said to Moses, the man of God, concerning you and me back at Kadesh Barnea. I was 40 years old when Moses, the servant of God, sent me from Kadesh Barnea to spy out the land. And I brought back an honest and accurate report. My companions who went with me discouraged the people, but I stuck to my guns, totally with God, my God. That was the day that Moses solemnly promised, the land on which your feet have walked will be your inheritance, you and your children's forever. Yes, you have lived totally for God. Now look at me. God has kept me alive as he promised. It is now 45 years since God spoke this word to Moses, years in which Israel wandered in the wilderness. And here I am today, 85 years old. I am as strong as I was the day Moses sent me out. I'm as strong as ever in battle, whether coming or going. So give me this hill country that God promised me. You yourself heard the report, that the Anakim were there with their great fortress cities. If God goes with me, I will drive them out, just as God said. Joshua blessed him. He gave Hebron to Caleb, son of Jephunneh, as an inheritance. Hebron belongs to Caleb, son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, still today, because he gave himself totally to God, the God of Israel. The name of Hebron used to be Kiriath Arba, named after Arba, the greatest man among the Anakim, and the land had rest from war. Chapter 15. Judah. The lot for the people of Judah, their clans, extended south to the border of Edom, to the wilderness of Zin in the extreme south. The southern border ran from the tip of the Salt Sea south to the tongue. It ran southward from Scorpion's Pass, went around Zin, and just south of Kadesh Barnea. Then it ran past Hezron, ascended to Adar, and curved around to Karka. From there, it passed along to Asmon, came out at the brook of Egypt, ending at the sea. This is the southern boundary. The eastern boundary, the Salt Sea up to the mouth of the Jordan. The northern boundary started at the shallows of the sea at the mouth of the Jordan, went up to Beth Hogla, and around to the north at Beth Arabah, and to the stone of Bohan, son of Reuben. The border then ascended to Debir from Trouble Valley and turned north toward Gilgal, which lies opposite Red Pass, just south of the gorge. The border then followed the waters of En Shemesh and ended at En Rogel. The border followed the valley of Ben Hinnom along the southern slope of the Jebusite ridge, that is, Jerusalem. It ascended to the top of the mountain opposite Hinnom Valley on the west, at the northern end of the Rephaim Valley. The border then took a turn at the top of the mountain to the spring, the waters of Nephtoah, and followed the valley out to Mount Ephron, turned toward Baalah, that is, Kiriath Jearim, took another turn west of Baalah to Mount Seir, curved around to the northern shoulder of Mount Jearim, that is, Kesalon, descended to Beth Shemesh, and crossed to Timnah. The border then went north to the ridge of Ekron, turned north toward Shikkeron, passed along to Mount Baalah, and came out at Jabneel. The border ended at the sea. The western border, the coastline of the Great Sea. This is the boundary around the people of Judah for their clans. Joshua gave Caleb, son of Jephunneh, a section among the people of Judah, according to God's command. He gave him Kiriath Arba, that is, Hebron. Arba was the ancestor of Anak. Caleb drove out 3 Anakim from Hebron, Shishai, Ahiman, and Talmai, all descendants of Anak. He marched up from there against the people of Debir. Debir used to be called Kiriath Sefer. Caleb said, "Whoever attacks Kiriath Sepher and takes it, I'll give my daughter Achsah to him as his wife." Othniel, son of Kenaz, Caleb's brother, took it. So Caleb gave him his daughter Achsah as his wife. When she arrived, she got him to ask for farmland from her father. As she dismounted from her donkey, Caleb asked her, "What would you like?" She said, "Give me a marriage gift. You've given me desert land. Now give me pools of water." And he gave her the upper and the lower pools. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the people of Judah, clan by clan. The southern towns of the tribe of Judah in the Negev were near the boundary of Edom: Kabzeel, Eder, Jagur, Kaina, Dimonah, Adadah, Kedesh, Hazor, Ithnan, Ziph, Telam, Bealoth, Hazar Hadattah, Kiriath Hezron, that is Hazor, Anam, Shema, Moladah, Hazar Gaddah, Heshmon, Beth Pelet, Hazar Shual, Beersheba, Bisiothia, Baalah, Iam, Ezem, Eltolad, Kisel, Hormah, Ziklag, Madmenah, Sansannah, Lebaoth, Shillim, Ain, and Rimmon, a total of 29 towns and their villages. In the Shephelah, the western foothills, there were Eshtaol, Zorah, Ashna, Zanoah, En-Ganim, Tappuah, Enam, Jarmuth, Adullam, Soka, Ezekah, Shearaim, Adathaim, and Gedera, or Gederothaim, 14 towns and their villages: Zenan, Hadashah, Migdal-Gad, Gileon, Mitzpah, Joktheel, Lachish, Bozkath, Eglon, Caban, Lamas, Kitlish, Gederath, Beth Dagon, Naamah, and Makkedah, 16 towns and their villages: Libnah, Ether, Ashen, Iftah, Ashna, Nezib, Keilah, Akzib, and Marisha, 9 towns and their villages. Ekron with its towns and villages. From Ekron, west to the sea, all that bordered Ashdod with its villages. Ashdod with its towns and villages. Gaza with its towns and villages all the way to the brook of Egypt. The Great Sea is the western border. In the hill country, Shamer, Jadar, Soko, Dana, Kiriath Sana, that is Deber, Anab, Eshtemoh, Anam, Goshen, Holon, and Gilo, 11 towns and their villages. Arab, Juma, Eshan, Janam, Beth Tappuah, Aphekah, Humtah, Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, and Zior, 9 towns and their villages. Maon, Carmel, Ziph, Judah, Jezreel, Jokdeam, Zanoah, Cam, Gibeah, and Timnah, 10 towns and their villages. Halhol, Beth Zur, Gedor, Meerath, Beth Anath, and Eltekon, 6 towns and their villages. Kiriath Baal, that is Kiriath Jearim, and Reba, 2 towns and their villages. In the wilderness, Beth Araba, Middin, Sekaka, Nibshan, City of Salt, and En-Gedi, 6 towns and their villages. The people of Judah couldn't get rid of the Jebusites who lived in Jerusalem. The Jebusites stayed put, living alongside the people of Judah. They are still living there in Jerusalem. Chapter 16. Joseph. The lot for the people of Joseph went from the Jordan near Jericho, east of the spring of Jericho, north through the desert mountains to Bethel. It went on from Bethel, that is, Luz, to the territory of the Archites in Adaroth. It then descended westward to the territory of the Japhletites, to the region of lower Beth Horon, and on to Gezer, ending at the sea. This is the region from which the people of Joseph, Manasseh and Ephraim, got their inheritance. Ephraim's territory by clans. The boundary of their inheritance went from Adaroth Adar in the east to upper Beth Horon, and then west to the sea. From Macmetheth on the north, it turned eastward to Taanath Shiloh and passed along, still eastward, to Janoah. The border then descended from Janoah to Adaroth and Nearah. It touched Jericho and came out at the Jordan. From Tepuah, the border went westward to the brook Pana and ended at the sea. This was the inheritance of the tribe of Ephraim by clans, including the cities set aside for Ephraim within the inheritance of Manasseh, all those towns and their villages. But they didn't get rid of the Canaanites who were living in Gezer. Canaanites are still living among the people of Ephraim, but they are made to do forced labor.